Welcome to Bird Camp Radio, where the coveys rise from the high pines, marsh valleys, sagebrush seas, and the shelf rock ledges. Here at camp, the fire's always glowing, the dogs are never far, and the stories of birds, wild places, and the upland life are just beginning. This is Bird Camp Radio. Before we get into today's episode, I want to thank a company Rachel and I personally trust, Pet Commute. We have worked with them several times ourselves, and I can tell you firsthand, they are reliable, safe, punctual, and they give frequent transport updates. That peace of mind matters, especially when it's your dog. If you're a breeder, buyer, trainer, running field dog trials, traveling to a hunt, or honestly just need to get a pet somewhere safely, Pet Commute is a perfect fit for bird dog folks. They offer free transportation quotes, and make sure to mention Bird Camp Radio to get 10% off your pet's travel. Check the link in the show notes, our social media bios, or the comments. I highly recommend them. Welcome back, everyone, to the Bird Camp Radio podcast. I'm your host, Kellen Golightly, and we're excited to be back for the 32nd episode of Bird Camp Radio. Today we have a special guest coming on, Josh Riddle, from just across the mountain from us. It's exciting. Actually, a little bit about, kind of a funny story about Josh. I got to meet Josh before I even knew he was into upland game. He actually married my stepmom and dad a few years back, and he ended up talking to me later, Josh, about that. I didn't even know. I was like, what?
No.
I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And so you're just across the mountain from us, so not too far off. So
we've got some pretty cool connections, so it's fun.
Oh yeah, love it. But I want to read your bio real quick so everybody can get to know you, and then we'll get right into it.
That'd be great.
Raised in a deeply rooted upland hunting tradition, Josh Riddle has spent his life in the outdoors pursuing game birds alongside family, friends, and loyal hunting dogs. He began shooting a shotgun at 8 years old and quickly developed a lifelong passion for upland hunting, especially pheasant and grouse. Coming from a family that has owned English Springer Spaniels since the 1970s, he learned early that bird dogs bring an unmatched level of partnership, discipline, and meaning to the hunting experience. His upbringing was strongly family-oriented, shaped by generations who valued hard work, conservation, and respect for the animals harvested. His grandfather, who grew up during the Great Depression, taught him the importance of utilizing what has taken from the field. His grandmother would turn feathers from their ducks and geese into handmade pillows, many of which he still treasures today. Those traditions instilled in him an appreciation for heritage, stewardship, and making the most of every opportunity outdoors. Much of what Josh knows was passed down directly from his grandfather and father. Family hunts were always prioritized over everything else, creating memories and values that continue to guide him today. The outdoors has never simply been a hobby for him. It has been a lifelong foundation built on family, tradition, dogs, and a deep respect for the upland community. Josh, we're excited to have you on, man. How are you?
Definitely good. I appreciate it. Appreciate that little, like I said, a bio there. You know, some of the history. Trying to come up with those is definitely interesting. Trying to reflect and come up with something that's attainable. So yeah.
That's right. I mean, talk about quite the resume within the upland game community. We're excited to be able to get to know more about you with that bio. But before we get started in that, we'd like to play the quick game of rapid fire around the campfire game with you.
Perfect.
If you don't have any questions, we'll just turn and burn.
I'm golden. Yep. Let's roll with it.
All right. Here we go. Favorite bird to hunt?
Pheasants.
Favorite shotgun gauge?
12.
Morning or evening hunts?
Morning.
Favorite dog breed?
Springer Spaniel with cockers being right there as well.
Game bag or vest?
I usually roll with a vest. I've got a pretty nice Carhartt one. Carhartt came out with a couple there for a little while. Although I got to throw this out there, I know Final Rise is here in Utah as well. So if Mr. Final Rise man, like, yeah, he puts out a pretty stinking great product. I've just never been, I've never had enough dollarage to to invest in that. But no, he puts out some great products. But that Carhartt one was pretty cool. We had those as gifts for one of our field trials for one of our national events 4 or 5 years ago. I don't even think Carhartt makes them anymore, but Shields had them there for a while, and they're pretty stinking great as well.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
So yeah, sorry to go off on the
Oh,
the
you're
rapid fire. Go with some of that there, but yeah, it's a pretty nice little vest.
That's awesome. Favorite state to hunt?
I got to go with the home state of Utah. Got lots of roots in South Dakota. Great hunting trips out there. But yeah, a lot of Utah.
Awesome. Solo or with friends?
Oh, see, and I can't, I gotta add the third dimension, family. Like, it's my favorite's just to go with family. My dad, grandpa, my son. He's 11 now, and he's got quite the reputation these days as well. Monroe. He's a fun little guy to go hunt with.
That's awesome. Public or private land?
Oh gosh, anytime I can get in on private is is definitely preferred, but I'll definitely go public as well a lot of times.
Awesome. Dream hunting destination?
Dream hunting destination. See, I don't think I go too exotic or anything like that. I just like places where there's lots of birds.
That's
South
right.
Dakota, like I said, we've gone there a bunch. I'd love to get up to northeastern Montana. I've got some friends up that way that keep hounding me to come up. Eastern Montana sounds pretty great as well. But I don't want to hotspot that either, because the Montanans, it sounds like, are getting tired of getting the big reputation. So we'll keep people going up there and out of Utah. So
That's right. And then limit or memories?
say that one more time.
Limit or memories?
Limit or memories? What do you mean by that? Sorry.
Bag limit or the memories made?
Oh, memories for sure. But bag limit can definitely add to the memories.
That's true. It definitely does. Hey, that's all 10 questions, man. We'll release your time at the end of the podcast, get you on there. But I love it. That's great. That is great. So, just digging into it from the get-go, like, for the people who haven't listened to the podcast before or maybe newer, and I mean for the ones that already know, we like to really focus on each uplander's biography and why they choose the upland game tradition, because it's definitely, as we know, a niche, a very small community.
Yeah.
So just kind of going right into it, where did it all get started for you?
Gosh, before I can even remember, I mean, I remember the first time we were, I think, sage hen hunting or something like that down on the Monroe Mountain or Boulder or something, southeastern Utah, and and I was able to my dad got me a little 410 and put up a napkin on a sagebrush, and that was my first time, shooting a gun myself. But ever since then, like with my dad and grandpa, it was literally like about every weekend. We'd go hunt ducks and geese and pheasants and back then a lot more big game back then. But it was my father's from Carbon County, Price, Utah, a little place called Springland. That's where my grandpa lived, and we'd go out there and camp out, or not camp out, stay overnight at their place and go deer hunting and pheasant hunting. We spent a lot of time out in the Uinta Basin as well. Yeah, and then grew up in American Fork, Lehigh area. Everything got crazy down that way, and so we moved up to northern Utah to try and get out of the mess. And yeah, that's kind of where we ended up today. But no, as far as initially getting into all of that stuff, I was raised with it. Grew up with the dogs as well. Back then, English Springer Spaniels, only those. My dad field trialed quite a bit back then, a lot in the 80s, a little bit in the 90s, but then stopped field trialing as much to raise his family and raise us, and And I mean, we hunted just a ton then, and he'd still field trial a little bit here and there, but very competitive dogs, super nice dogs since, like I said, the 80s. Um, so I think that's where I gained an appreciation and love for a lot of that, a lot of hunting in general, upland, big game, all of the above.
I love it. I mean, being Utahns, I mean, sometimes I shouldn't say this, but I am. Utah's kind of a sleeper state for a lot of people, and we we have quite the upland game
Yeah.
variety. We really do. And like you said, we're kind of I'm very grateful to be where we're at just because of the variety. I mean, we're able to start September 1
Yes.
and go February 15th almost every
Yeah.
year. So hunting all sorts of different varieties. And
Oh
it's kind of
yeah.
cool that you mentioned like you grew up hunting sage grouse, right? Is what you
Yes.
said.
Yeah, and
That's
back then, I mean, we could limit up on them. We could out by price. My grandfather owned a bunch of property kind of next to the Book Cliffs out there, San Rafael Swell, out that way, and there were tons of sage hens back then. And so yeah, so we we hunted a bunch out there, down on the Monroe Mountain, the Boulder Mountain as well, and yeah, so we hunted a lot of those birds before
that's
they were
awesome.
endangered or whatever. Hopefully we didn't add to that, but maybe so. Like, yeah.
That's definitely yeah, I get you. See, I haven't even drawn out. I've been putting in for the past few years, but kind of a cool topic. I mean, a lot of people probably won't know this, or some do. There's a place you probably know, Maddox
Oh
Ranch House.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you know what? There's probably some people who listen to this who probably will, because when I was living in Tennessee, people were like, "Oh, so you're from like Brigham City area? You know Maddox?" They're like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "How do you know about that place?" I didn't realize how popular it really was throughout the country.
Oh
But
yeah.
kind of a cool thing with them, how it all really got started was the like great grandpa would just go out and hunt sage hens and then started learning how to cook them.
Oh,
And that's kind of where like they have like a big old plaque in there that talks about how he'd go out west hunting sage hens, and that's what his family lived on, and that's where Maddox began. I'm
that's
like,
the foundation of Maddox.
oh, that's actually pretty cool, but
That's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
No, we try and take we get quite a few judges out when they come and judge our field trials, and that's always a staple of trying to get our judges at least there at least once when they come out. So
Oh
we
yeah,
just we just went there a couple weeks ago before one of our trials, and so it was probably one of the best times I've been as well. So
that's awesome.
it was
I love
great.
I love to hear it. So your listeners will know what we're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about.
very much so.
That's awesome. So going into it like now, I mean, kind of getting to know what you did, kind of how it transitioned from the southern part. Now you're up here in the north. Um, Rocky's Kennels. How did that
Yeah.
all get done? Your father started it, right? Or
Yep. Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
father started
So yeah, as far as the kennel kind of goes, my dad, his middle name is Gary Rocky Riddle. And so yeah, he started the kennel probably 35, 40 years. Yeah, probably yeah, as long as I've been alive. And so yeah, he started training back then. He had a very high-powered dog in the 80s, Canadian field champion, amateur field champion, Rocky's Quest. And so yeah, he kind of started that back then. We've always kind of had some litters of puppies and things like that along the way. Probably about 15. I'm trying to think. Probably about 15 years ago, he went professional, so started training dogs professionally in field trials, and then I kind of took over the breeding program around then, and yeah, that's kind of ever since then. That's kind of the foundations of how it's grown into what it is today. And I wouldn't say we're huge by any means or anything like that. We try and put out some nice dogs and yeah, help folks enjoy a well-bred, healthy dog.
that's awesome. I mean, that's pretty neat being able to do what you love professionally, and be able to enjoy it all the time like you guys are able to do. Um, with that, how long's it been going? You said Rocky's Kennels has been going on for
Oh, probably 40 years,
wow.
40 years or so. Like I said, as long as I've been alive. Yeah, quite a while.
And then so you guys do both the Springer and Cocker Spaniels, right?
Yeah, started getting into cockers about 8, 9 years ago. And they're a fantastic little dog that has some awesome capabilities, awesome qualities as well. I'd say that they're one of the. It seems like over the last 3, 4, 5 years, like they've become pretty dang popular. And it seems like a lot of folks have been getting into them. A lot of the pointers utilize the cockers for retrieving and stuff like that. I think they're underutilizing them, but that's another, that's another time for a story. They can definitely stand on their own. They can hunt quail, they can hunt pheasants. My little 20-pound female, she I get videos of her all the time carrying a big old rooster back in her mouth, and it's bigger than her head. And yeah, these cockers, they can do some amazing things as well.
Awesome. So do you have a preference between the two breeds, or is it pretty? I mean, it's probably one thing for this, one thing for that, but what are the strengths and weaknesses that you see in both of them? Or do you prefer one more?
So yeah, no, that's a great question because I get that question quite a bit as well. Springers are a little bit bigger. They've got, and just depending on and it always comes down to DNA, whether it's a Springer or a Cocker. Like, there's a lot of generalizations that you can utilize and go from there. And so as far as one or the other, I can just speak to what I've experienced and the dogs that I've seen. I love my Springers. They seem to have a little bit better on and off switch. The Cockers are then pretty amazing as well. Like for pheasants, getting in. Well, and just as I say that, like I'm thinking of all the positive aspects. Like I hunt my Springers and Cockers in a lot of the same areas, with pheasants, with grouse as well. They're dang fun trying to get them into the trees and quakies and pines, and um, trying to hit those birds because they're flushing dogs, trying to hit them through the trees. And both of them are great. Both of them have a lot of pros. The Cockers literally bounce off the walls though, like they unrelenting energy. And again, sometimes that can be attributed to DNA and stuff like that. But for me, I want a dog that's going to hunt all day. I want a dog that's going to have that endless energy, and that's exactly what I'm searching for.
Hey, I love to hear that. I mean, I guess here in Utah, and I guess just from what I've seen, um, I've had the opportunity to speak with a few people who own spaniels, but I never knew much about them before. Most people around here on GSPs,
Yeah,
from what a lot of chucker hunting, a lot of hunt hunting, stuff like
yeah.
that. So,
The
um,
NAVDA community super quite
right,
very big. The NAVDA stuff, or then you get the lab folks.
uh-huh,
And all of us, and I don't know, a lot of your listeners might be familiar with Lee K. We used to field trial down there at Lee K and have to split weekends, work with all the NAVDA folks, the lab folks, and different things like that. Unfortunately, and whether we go this direction or not, unfortunately, Utah's made it more difficult to utilize state property. For events like this, for field trials, for hunting events or NAVDA events. They've made it just like everywhere else. It's become, you got to pay to play, and unfortunately, we haven't held a trial down at Lee K for a couple of years now, just because of the cost of these events. Yeah, but yeah, so that's I've been able to get to know a lot of great folks in all the communities, NAVDA and like I said, the lab trials as well, hunt tests, different things like that. There's some really great folks.
no, that's awesome. I mean, I've only heard everybody that I've talked to when it comes to either spaniel, I've absolutely loved them. Um,
Yeah.
Wanted to know a little bit about Brittany's too on that aspect, but really focusing on the Cocker and Springers, like I've never heard anything bad. we had a guy on. It was earlier in the podcast who was from Canada, and he has a friend who's in, I believe, Minnesota. And for the longest time, I believe she raises both the Springer and Cocker Spaniels, but she not in the hunting aspect. So she did a lot of like the AKC like shows and stuff like that. Well, they
Yeah.
ended up talking, and she got a little curious with it, and she has completely made like a 360 apparently. She still does like the AKC shows, but he got her into hunting, and now she's breeding these hunting dogs, and she's like, why haven't I not been doing this the whole time? She's like, these
Yeah.
things are absolutely amazing. The tools that they have when it comes in their hunting capabilities, she's like, they're great. From what
Yeah.
he's, I'd love to get her on to talk about it too at some point, but
Yeah, I think
heck,
if it's the lady that I'm thinking of, she's definitely expanded quite a bit with the cockers specifically. That Pacific, the Midwest, what do they call it? You know, Minnesota, Wisconsin, up
uh,
that way. There's a huge following. There's a lot of folks in the field trial world with cockers and springers up that way. North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. You know, there's a lot of great folks that field trial and hunt in a lot of those different areas. South Dakota as well. Yeah, a lot of that whole area.
I didn't even know that. It's like
Yeah.
so much fun being able to learn about each breed and what people. I've definitely seen like a regional aspects, but
Yes.
it's awesome.
I just
So
judged a trial up in Minnesota this spring. Flew into Minneapolis, and it was a huge trial. They had like 60 plus open dogs, and then 50 something amateur dogs. So they get big trials. Anything over 20, 25, 30, 30 starting to get big. 40 or 50 is a pretty big trial. And so they were 60-ish as well. And yeah, they have some big events out that way.
that's crazy, and that's the other thing. Like with what you're doing, you do a lot of like the field trials, and you judge yourself, don't you? As
Yes,
well.
yeah, I went through the judges course probably 3 or 4 years ago to just try and I'm sure with with a lot of these AKC stuff and events like this, you know, we're getting to the point that we got to start giving back and keeping in order to keep these things around and stuff like that. We got to start pitching in, and so that's 3 or 4 years ago. I went through the program and yeah, started judging. So I think I'm up to about nine trials that I've been able to judge. So yeah, lots of different places. Minnesota, Illinois, went out to California this spring as well, down to Texas a couple of times, up to Maine. Yeah, like I said, quite a few different events. It's great to be able to go and you know, essentially you don't get paid for it. They just cover the cost of your travel and stuff, but to be able to see some of the nicest dogs across the country is it's pretty fun.
That's awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, we gotta do our part to keep it here. I mean, it's always under attack, it feels like
Oh
anymore.
my gosh, the farm bill, all this stuff. Like, I'm glad the AKC has some folks that yeah, that one circulated pretty high and low, and I don't know if it's completely done. I know that some of the wording got switched around a little bit, but gosh dang, yeah, it seems like it's always under attack.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's it's crazy to even think that it just got slipped in there without even. I'm glad that there's people out there who are watching for those things
Oh
because
my gosh, yeah.
it's been passed and not even known. So
Yeah.
I, as far as I know, like you said, I think it's at least for now somewhat
Dumbed
done.
down or yeah.
For
The
now,
AKC, yeah, the AKC I think put out a statement something in regards to that, but who knows? Like I said, I mean, it changed overnight. It could change overnight again. Like so hopefully, yeah, hopefully continue with that. But yeah.
no, that's awesome. I mean, giving back to the community. I mean, being able to go out, like you said, meeting amazing guys, amazing bird dogs out there, being able to see some new country and build the community. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Because that's honestly kind of what started this podcast, just building the community from kind of the things that have been under
Yeah.
attack. It feels like, especially here in Utah lately, it's definitely been difficult. And like you said, the conservation aspect of the tradition is everything. If we we want it for future generations. So
Correct. Yeah.
completely agree. So I just, for everybody out there, I mean, I've had some questions. I've had guys who know you personally, that we've talked with. Where can we find Rocky's Kennels? Because I know I've had questions before. So where can
I've,
we find you?
yeah. No. So I've had loads of people asking me before. Hey, do you have a website? Hey, do you have that? Do you have this? And we like to stay more small potatoes, and so literally I think on Facebook and Instagram, like those are the only two places. Like seems like yeah, we've looked at doing a website a bunch of different times, and it's just never materialized. And so yeah, as far as we go, we're not expanding or going anywhere, and most of what we do is word of mouth. Um, it's worked for us for the last what 10, 15 years, and so like yeah.
Keep it going.
Yep, Facebook and Instagram. That's kind of where we're at currently.
Okay,
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. That'd probably be the best two ways. I've got I do a couple outside stuff as well. I'm on the board of governors for the English Springer Spaniel Association. For one more year, this will be my 6th year, and I come off next year. So just yeah, but yeah, mainly like I said, Facebook and Instagram for some stuff like that. I post a lot of stuff on my son, try and keep it youth oriented as well. My kids taking care, training the dogs. I think that's super important. Number one for kids, but number two for the dogs as well. I think anytime kids can be involved, there is a special relationship between a dog and gaining that relationship with a child or anything like that, whether it's starting out younger or creating that that what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, just the relationship outside of yourself. For me, a little bit of background: I work for vocational rehabilitation. I work for the state of Utah. So as far as psychology goes, and as far as I don't claim to be a great psychological leader or anything like that, but there is something to say for youth, and especially these days, and like I said, gaining that appreciation for something outside of oneself. 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 years old, like everything's inward. And so having an animal, an appreciation, a pet, anything like that, like anything to go outward, I think is definitely beneficial. I didn't realize I was going to go off on something like this as well, but as far as psychology goes and things like that, like I see huge benefits for things like that. It helps with depression, anxiety, different things like that. A lot of what our society's seeing right now, you wonder why so many people have therapy animals or different things like that. I think that's a big part of that is is that connection, and that carries over into hunting dogs as well. And because it's not just going out and killing birds, it's that partnership, it's that connection of seeing something grow and mature. And you always talk about in the dog training world, of the light going on, quote unquote, the light going on with an animal. And that's when folks, trainers, hunters, that's when I see guys light up, and they talk about their dog. Oh, my dog did this, my dog did that. Like the light came on, that connection. There's something special about that.
I love that. That's a great way to go with this because I mean, like you said, I know for me being able to grow up, I mean, we live in a more rural area where we can have the opportunity to grow up with animals, and I mean, honestly, it's been a major benefit, like you said, and it's been fun being able to watch the videos of your kids out there doing it. I mean, at a young age, learning, and like you said, it takes it when you're able to have that selflessness and have a responsibility besides yourself. It has a meaningful impact at the end of the day
Oh,
for
yeah.
and like you said, that light bulb moment for two animals, for you and the animal, it's
Yeah.
a special relationship when it's like, wow, because of the communication that goes behind that. Like you said, I mean, you're in psychology, and then looking at the psychology of us, and then that animal, and being able to have communication and a bond and be able to make that light bulb work. It's honestly amazing.
Yeah.
That's what, like you said, what makes hunting so cool. It's more than shooting the bird. It's more than anything like that. It's everything that is behind that.
Yeah.
That's just the icing on top, you know. So
It's
I love
taken me a lot of years to get to that point. It's definitely taken me a lot of years to get to that point. You know, I used to be a killer. I used to just go out and try and limit up, like we were talking about earlier. Limit every day. Like, oh, I'm not happy if I'm not limited up and things like that. But then I grew. My dad had more of an appreciation of, if he kicks up a rooster or something like that, and the dog isn't perfect on the training and steady to wing and shot, steady to everything. He wouldn't even pull the trigger on a bird. Like it had to be perfect, essentially, for the dog to in order to get that retrieve and stuff. And I didn't always see that, but I've definitely come to that appreciation for the partnership there, and different layers. It's not just the harvesting of the animal, but how you do it and different things like that. And so I've definitely come to an appreciation of that along the way.
Oh yeah.
But
I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie, I'm still sometimes in that killer state.
Oh
Some
yeah, I mean, if I go on a goose hunt and I'm out in a field, like I want the geese to come in. I still want to limit up and stuff like that, but no, just the just and I've loads of different stories and things like that. But going hunting and seeing that dog do everything perfect. They're like that's what sticks up here. That's what sticks in my brain and helps me remember. That those light bulb moments really are the special moments.
right, being able to get to that goal. And
Yes.
one thing about it is you have that, and then all of a sudden they go and do something stupid.
Oh God.
That's the fun part is it's always the fine tuning, fine critique.
Yes.
I mean that's the fun part about hunting is there's always something.
It's a machine. It's a machine. Oil changes, this, keeping it going, like tires, this and that. Like the dogs, you got to feed them. They get sick, break a toenail, like start to just go off on their own. They're teenagers. Then they start to, just go nuts and go crazy into birds. And yeah, it can be amazingly frustrating, but it can also be super rewarding as well.
I love it. All right, everyone. Quick shout out to our friends at Pet Commute. If you ever tried coordinating dog transport yourself, you know it's not simple. Whether it's a new pup coming home, a finished dog heading to a buyer, a field trial trip, or even, let's be honest, your wife needing her little mutt transported safely, Pet Commute handles it professionally. Rachel and I have personally transported with them, and I can confidently say they are reliable, safe, punctual, and they keep owners updated the entire trip. They offer free quotes, and if you mention Bird Camp Radio, you'll get 10% off your pet's travel. Hit the link in the show notes, comments, or our socials. So, one of the questions that I've been asking lately, and I've gotten in trouble for asking this question because, I mean, everybody's bird dog owners and there is no off season. But what I mean by off season is the bird season. Um, what are you doing during this time? I mean, you have your breeding kennels. I mean, have a full time job.
Yeah.
What does it look like for you up until September 1?
So I mean, this is the fun season. This is the training season. So literally, we're training every week, 1, 2 days a week. Like, at least for Friday. If I'm off on Fridays and Saturdays, so a lot of times we'll be training Fridays and Saturdays. Trying to cultivate those young dogs, get ready for the fall. Our field trial season, unfortunately, is a lot of times the same time as stinking hunting season, and so um, every weekend in the fall is super busy. I try and get my judging assignments in the spring so that I can then in between field trials in between field trials I can go hunting myself. And like you're saying, from September 1, like that's like Christmas in our household. Like That's grouse season. Dove season does start then, but I mean, we're up in the mountains. I look forward to that date. Like we wake up early, like go camping and do all that stuff. But yeah, from September 1 through, like you said, January, February, we're about every weekend. But yeah, during the off season pheasants or during the summer stuff, we're training. It gets super hot super early, so we're training in the fields. We're using pigeons, a lot of field work as well, honing in a lot of that stuff. When we hunt wild birds and stuff like that, they start to range out and get a little bit bigger here and there, and so we're trying to condense, bring in the dogs, try and get them to work, but then the younger dogs, build them up, get them more exposure, getting them ready for the fall.
That's awesome. No, I love to hear that. And with that, I'm just curious. Like, I've never hunted behind spaniels. What is it like to hunt behind? And I mean, I don't know exactly how to necessarily ask that question because I've never hunted behind them. But what are you looking for as a breeder, as an owner, as a trainer in your dogs?
So number one is just drive, just in general. Um, Retrievability. Like if the dogs can retrieve, I want that amazing intense retrieve drive. Number one. Number two, I've got to have a brain. There's a lot of dogs out there that are super athletic that are have great noses, this or that or the other. Like, but if they don't have a brain, like they can't work out a lot of that stuff together, and they just get themselves in trouble a lot of times. So I like a dog with a brain that can work a lot of that out. I like a dog with a good nose, that can retrieve. If they've got the drive, then you can mold them pretty much to whatever you want. If they don't, and like I said, my dad trains professionally, and so I get to help him out quite a bit. In years past, he's had a lot of those different dogs. He's had setters, he's had GSPs, he's had Brittany's, he's had Labs, and across the gambit, whether they're well bred or not very well bred. Like I see the time and effort that goes into training a dog with, number one, not a very good pedigree. Number two, doesn't really have the drive. It literally takes 2, 3, 4 times as long to train a dog that doesn't have the skill set. That much effort, that much time on that many more birds. A lot more funds go into a dog that's, quote unquote, not very well bred. And so you may get lucky and find one that, oh, hey, this dog does that, this dog does that. Okay, great, good on you. But really trying to get the DNA associated with that definitely helps out. So when I'm looking for a dog, that's what I want. I want a dog that'll retrieve. I like a dog that has a brain, that can work stuff out and figure stuff out. A lot of natural ability as well. They can just go out and get it done. And so those are a lot of the things that I look for, in a breeding program as well. And then obviously health and genetics, like that's a big portion of that. But I leave that till the end because that should be foundational. That should be where it starts. And I think that more and more folks are catching on that, can you limit every little sickness, disease, genetic predisposition or things like that? No, you can't. But you can try and eliminate a lot of those by doing homework and putting some initial money into some of that stuff before taking those next steps. And so yeah, all of that I think is very important.
Oh yeah. I mean, you got me sold. Like I've said before, I definitely, as soon as we buy a house, I'll probably be giving you a phone call, at least getting on a on a waiting list or something.
Yeah. No, it's fun, and I think as far as that goes, a lot of people they see, oh hey, that like it's the dogs that like that you're wowed by. It doesn't matter if it's a setter, it doesn't matter if it's a wire hair or a Duke Kazar A DK. I can't
Yeah, I
even
don't know.
pronounce it. It's so stinking German, but like there's some dogs that I've seen that I'm just like, wow, that's a super nice dog, you know. People start to get reputations here or there by putting out nice dogs. You know, Talmadge, he has some great setters. I know a kid that I used to go to school with that works down at Wasatch, and you know he's got those DKs, and he brought a couple of those dogs out, and I'm like, holy crap, like that's a nice dog. Some definite pros to some of that stuff, like, or you get some good labs here or there, and like, you know, my preference if I look at a lab, I like the English labs. I like the smaller English labs that have some agility, that have some uh, that show some personality and different things like that. And so, yeah, there's lots of different dogs that we can look at, and but that's what it all kind of circles back to, is trying to find the best out there, trying to find dogs that'll work for us. You know, on the off season as well, not just we have to live with them 12 months of the year, not just, you know, September through December or February, March. You know, it's 20 12 month process.
I love it. No, that definitely makes sense. I mean, there's good and bad in everything, just like anything. I mean, we do horses as well,
Yeah.
and it's the same exact thing there. And it's
Yep.
really just fitting what works for you, what you're comfortable with. And I mean, the best dog is the dog that you work with, I feel like.
Yeah.
So what fits you is what you're gonna love, and everybody
Something you
has
can be
their own.
proud of.
Right, right. And at the end of the day, that's what matters, the thing that you're hunting behind. So
Yep.
I love it, man. This has been a lot of fun being able to have you on. And before we close out, I always ask one question, the same question to everybody, and that's do you have any, oh, what's the word I'm trying to find, advice for upcoming uplanders or uplanders who are already in the tradition? I mean, you can answer it for one or the other or both or however you want to.
Oh, that's a great question. You know, and I think my biggest thing currently is you know, there was a gentleman that I work with a little bit. He does detection stuff in California, and he has like a training thing, and you know, he does a bunch of um well, he does a podcast as well, but more for detection, police dog stuff, and things like that. I think currently, like as far as training goes, for whether it's hunting or this or that, there's a lot of darts being thrown in our community, and you know, whether you do it this way or this way, we got to realize we're all on the same team, and conservation's conservation, and you know, like I said, I don't mean to turn it this way. You know, there's a lot of fun stuff that we could talk about, but as far as that goes, like, you know, just because we have one breed or one dog or something like that doing it one way, doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad way. I think we just need to remember that we're all on the same team, and going in that positive direction. And I think that's huge. But as far as um, you know, things that I currently think about, getting youth involved again, number one as well, getting folks involved in that, getting out and having just a great time in the outdoors. There's a lot of benefits, a lot of things that can benefit a lot of people, and just doing even one little thing here or there, helping different communities, different clubs out, whether it's holding field trials or NAVDA events or different things like that. Like, it's always nice when someone comes to you and says, "Hey, what can I do to help?" Rather than, "Hey, you're doing this wrong or this wrong." Like, you know, that question of what can I do to help goes a long way.
I love it. That's why I asked that question. Is it's a lot better advice than I can give. Good
Well,
say though.
I talk in circles a lot of times, but you know, hopefully the point finally gets across.
Hey, I think it
Um,
sounded great. It all came full circle. I love it.
yeah, yeah. What can I do to help? Let's yeah. That's the message that I definitely like.
No, I love it. Like you said. being present is a big thing, what you can do to help. And like you said, bringing up future generations, they're the ones that are going to carry the tradition on. And I'd love to see it continue on for my kids and your kids and everybody on. I
Yeah.
mean, it's great. Like you said, at the end of the day, I mean, there's a lot of great. I mean, a lot of people look at it, it's like, hunting, yeah, just hunting. Well, there's a lot of good, like you said, a lot of good outcomes for you. A lot of great, get you out socially, get you out physically. I mean, there's
Yes.
so many benefits at the end of the day for you. And so,
I'm
I
going
think that's
into
a big
the summer season. It's the opposite for me. I'm like, gosh, what can I do now to hike mountains and stuff like that? I put on my summer weight, and then I have to
now I
start
gotta go.
doing the treadmill in August, getting ready for September.
Gives us something to do, that's for sure. It
Oh,
keeps us in tune because you hit that mountain for the first time, you're like, gosh, man,
yes. September
motivation.
1, I'm like, oh, check my pulse. Feel like I'm having a heart attack. I don't get enough steps in during fishing season.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, I appreciate your time and your willingness to come on here and share a little bit about you, the company as well. And like I said, everybody, you know where you can find them as well. And we'll put that in the bio as well for this. But thank you again, Josh, for your willingness and your time to share a little bit about yourself and Upland Game.
Hey, definitely appreciate it. I yeah, appreciate the opportunity to come on, and hopefully we can all just keep pushing forward.
That's right. Thank you, man.
You betcha.
Thank you again, everyone, for listening to the Bird Camp Radio podcast. I hope you enjoyed episode 32 with Josh Riddle as much as we did. But before you go, we need to release his time of the rapid fire around the campfire game. Josh, your time was 2 minutes, 53 seconds. A little bit longer, but that puts you in 32nd place. But yeah, great answers, everybody. We really enjoyed those, so thank you for sharing those. As I've said before, you can find us on YouTube now, where you can watch these videos. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep updated on everything as well. Find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. And go like and subscribe and let us know what you like. We want to know so we can give you what you want. We'll catch you next time. You've been listening to Bird Camp Radio, where the high pines, marsh valleys, sagebrush seas, and shelf rock ledges always call us back. Until next time, keep your dogs close, your shot true, and your campfire stories ready to share. We'll see you back at camp. Don't miss out on the next episode, where we'll host our next guest on the podcast. You don't want to miss this one. Thank you.